This man to rearrange your furniture, help you change your life, or even make you rich? Donald Trump thinks so.
We study it, we work on it, we actually hired somebody.
But before you start shoving your couch around, see Eye on America tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather and Connie Chung.
Actor and comedian Sinbad, tonight on The Late Show.
A tornado hit Washington yesterday. His name is Newt Gingrich, the first Republican in 40 years to be sworn in as Speaker of the House. He wasted no time pushing through the GOP's first set of legislative reforms in a 14-and-a-half-hour marathon session. Who is this bright, complex, shoot-from-the-hip Republican revolutionary? Even some of his congressional colleagues don't know what Newt Gingrich will do next. But there are 5 people who know what the world, according to Newt, would be like. Tonight, in an eye-to-eye exclusive, you'll meet the family of the man who could be the most powerful leader in the country. You may have heard one small portion of this interview. Now you will see it in context.
Whipped topping and crushed pineapple, box of instant vanilla pudding in it.
Make no mistake about it. This is a power breakfast.
Pig looking good.
Meet America's hottest political parents, Kathleen Gingrich and husband Bob, an old-fashioned tobacco-chewing guy.
Sits right there and does these crossword puzzles. And I watch TV and drink my coffee and have my cigarettes. Ours is a steady routine. You can count on it.
Hello, Mr. Gingrich.
Yes, sir.
You actually made this yourself.
Yeah, I knew you were coming, so I baked a cake.
You have a nickname for your son. He is the first Republican Speaker of the House in 40 years and perhaps the most powerful Republican in the nation.
Nudie. He was nudie as a little boy. I'm not going to change. He's nudie.
Does he mind that you call him Nudie?
He's never said anything about it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Even now?
Even now.
I mean, he's over 50.
51.
Literally think of myself as a revolutionary.
You've seen his face and heard his message.
Human beings are being devoured by the welfare system. Foster homes, boarding schools, privatization rather than government bureaucracy. The Great Society was wrong. The counterculture was weird. And they
Newt knows you're talking to us, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. He approved of me.
Some people out there would say, he just wants the two of you to talk to us and talk to the American people because he wants everybody to know he's just a homespun kind of guy.
No, he's not homespun. He's not going to put on bib overalls and chew on a piece of straw. He's too sophisticated to be homespun.
A self-made, sophisticated man from the other side of the tracks. It's the first of many apparent contradictions on the way to understanding the Georgia congressman, whose public image reflects his power base: conservative, white, and Southern. Is he a true Southerner?
No. He was born in Harrisburg Hospital.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and he lived in Pennsylvania until 53.
So he's kind of a Yankee. Newt's a Yankee.
I think so.
But we won't tell anybody.
Okay. It's better. Because he has enough Democrats against him.
In September 1942, 16-year-old Kathleen married a 19-year-old mechanic named Newton McPherson.
Well, it wasn't much of a marriage. We were married on a Saturday, and I left him on a Tuesday.
He was a bit abusive.
A little bit. I couldn't get him up to go to work, and he hit me. The only good thing that came out of it was Nudie.
Alone, the teenage mother took a job as a mechanic at a local airport and moved back in with her mother. Soon after, she met Bob Gingrich, a young railroad man, and Newty McPherson was on his way to becoming a Gingrich. You adopted him?
Oh, yes.
The young family moved into a small apartment over a gas station in Hummelstown, Pennsylvania.
He grew up happy.
What did you think he was going to become?
I wasn't really sure. Curator of a zoo.
Curator of a zoo?
That would be right up Nudie's alley.
Why?
He loves animals.
When you have a cocaine-selling, check-bouncing, big spending, left-wing petty dictatorship in the Democratic leadership, you have to be prepared to define who you are. We know who they are.
Where did he get that toughness?
Maybe from observing me. I didn't say, hey, Newt, be tough. I was kind of tough. I mellowed a lot. I don't know whether you noticed it.
Mrs. Gingrich, tell me about your son as a child. Was he talkative?
He's never stopped, never. I tell the tale where I used to wash the dishes and he'd dry, and he'd talk to me. And really, he took me around the world.
He took you around the world through just talking to you?
Just talking to me.
Soon the curious little boy would become a big brother to 3 sisters, Susan, Rob, and later Candace. A lot of big brothers pick on their little sisters. Did he pick on you?
Did he? I don't remember.
Yes. You would call him Noodle Soup. You would call him Fig Newton. You would run through the house chasing each other.
He really entertained. He did Red Skelton and Jerry Lewis imitations. He always thought of fun games to play like War or Army.
Like War?
War,
Yes,
Army.
yeah. War was big.
I came home from World War II. Everybody was a hero.
Bob Gingrich dealt in war too, but not as a game. He became a career soldier. He took his son to a famous World War I battlefield. That may have been the event that propelled Newt Gingrich into politics.
We went to Verdun. There were 2 battles at Verdun, both of them very, very bloody. At that time, he decided that he would do all he could to see that this never happened again. And one of the ways he could help to see that it never happened again was to go into politics.
The Army had moved the family to Georgia in 1960. Gingrich would marry and work as a college professor. The son of a soldier then chose to fight his battle in Congress.
People of the district have a congressman who does represent folks who work for a living and worry about paying their grocery bills.
By 1978, on his 3rd try, he would be elected. He ran on a then little-known platform, family values. Unfortunately, his own family took a dim view of the wife Newt had chosen for himself.
Well, I never really thought that she was the woman for Newt.
Jackie Batley had been Newt Gingrich's high school math teacher and was 7 years older than him. How did you feel about that?
Unhappy. There were great hopes for Nudie, great hopes.
Why didn't you go to the wedding?
Because Bob would not go. He said, I'll take you to the church and I'll wait and I'll bring you home, but I'm not going.
I was not going to condone it by my presence.
By 1980, Bob Gingrich would be proved right, and Newt Gingrich divorced his first wife.
This was after 19 years of being married. And I was just shook. And he said it was either that or he was going to have a nervous breakdown.
Did he tell you why he was getting a divorce?
Yes. And I'm not going to tell you.
But one thing we do know, at the time of the divorce, Jackie Gingrich was battling uterine cancer. It is what Newt reportedly did as Jackie lay in her hospital room recovering from major surgery that haunts him to this day. Georgia columnist and sometime Gingrich critic Bill Schiff.
He did go in and inform her in her hospital bed that he was, they were calling it a day, they were separating.
According to a friend at the time, Newt said he was divorcing Jackie because she wasn't young enough or pretty enough to be the wife of a president, and besides, she has cancer.
That doesn't sound like Nudie at all.
I don't think he'd ever say anything like that.
And then there would be this, in 1984, a speech on the House floor railing against the Democrats.
It's the lowest thing that I've ever seen in my 32 years in Congress.
Gingrich had been speaking to an empty House. Then Speaker Tip O'Neill ordered the C-SPAN cameras to pan the room.
And I think it was brilliant. I mean, there was that opportunity to get national coverage, and nobody ever thought of it before he did.
But he was talking to an empty chamber,
Certainly.
Mr. Gingrich.
TV was made for Nudie.
It is impossible to maintain civilization with 12-year-olds having babies, with 15-year-olds killing each other, with
I think the
17-year-olds
real
dying of
Newt
AIDS,
Gingrich
with
at core
18-year-olds
is a revolutionary and a bomb thrower. If Republicans had been in charge in Washington, if they had held the Congress and the White House, Newt Gingrich would have been a Democrat.
I don't believe that. I don't think that he would scrap his principles for political gain. He hasn't yet.
These are some of the things that are said about your son. A very dangerous man.
No.
Visionary.
Yeah.
Bomb-throwing guerrilla warrior.
No.
Abrasive.
That could be.
Especially if you don't like him.
Yeah.
Then he becomes very abrasive.
Yeah, but who doesn't like him?
Yeah, right.
Which brings us back to the battlefield. It's shaping up as the political heavyweight title fight, and it's expected to run 2 bruising years. Do you think that Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich can ever become friends?
I don't think so.
Mrs. Gingrich?
I don't think so either.
What does Newt tell you about President Clinton?
The only thing he ever told me that he's smart, that he's an intelligent man, and he's not very practical, but he is intelligent. That's all he's ever told me about.
Mrs. Gingrich, what has Newt told you about President Clinton?
Nothing. And I can't tell you what he said about Hillary.
You can't?
I can't.
Why didn't you just whisper it to me, just between you and me?
She's a bitch. Real, that's the only thing he ever said about her. But I think they had some meeting, you know, and she takes over.
She does?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but when Newt's there, she can't.
There's another, perhaps unexpected twist to Newt Gingrich's story. His 28-year-old sister, Candace.
Yes, I'm a lesbian.
Do you think that your brother Newt is embarrassed that you are gay?
He's probably more embarrassed that I'm a Democrat, if anything.
Mm-hmm. If you could vote in an election in which Newt Gingrich was running, would you vote for him?
I'm unsure. I would not emphatically say yes.
Probably not.
Probably not. No, you're right, Connie. I would probably not vote for him.
I can see the headlines.
I know.
I feel overwhelmed in every way, overwhelmed by all the
Newt
Georgians
Gingrich
who
will
came out.
probably be dominating the headlines for some time to come. He begins his new job with his new wife, Marianne, by his side, and the support of his 2 daughters from his first marriage.
Will the gentleman from Georgia please raise his right hand?
This is what he wanted. He wanted to be Speaker. Doesn't want to be the President.
States against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
My mom and my dad are here. They're right up there, Bob and Kit Gingrich, and I'm so delighted that they're both able to be here. I can't say how much I learned from my dad in his years of serving in the U.S. Army and how much I learned from my mother, who's clearly my most enthusiastic cheerleader.
He wanted to be Speaker of the House. He became Speaker of the House.
Oh yes, chalk up one more victory for Newt Gingrich. Remember the little boy who wanted to be a zookeeper? He is that too, unofficially. He donated Bo the rhino to the Atlanta Zoo.
We like to think that we're Newt's zoo.
My boy Newty. He's just lovable. He really is.
You get some arguments on that.
Not too many.
There's been more talk about how Mrs. Gingrich came to tell us what she says is her son's 5-letter opinion about the First Lady than about her son's opinion itself. Mrs. Gingrich was sitting before 3 cameras and television lights with her microphone on. It was clear that what she said would be broadcast.